so there are people coming. I'm gonna stop for a second. All right, phase 3 of our road trip itinerary is going to be coming at you from my morning walk. I am walking directly into the sun, so it is quite bright, but I think with the magic of editing, I can overlay some stuff. All right, so we last left you in Orlando, Florida with a magical Disney World moment, and the next stop on the itinerary would be going from Orlando, Florida to Savannah, Georgia. And the drive is about 4.5 hours, but in Savannah, we have the famous Savannah bananas. I've never been to Savannah. I've heard nothing but awesome things about it. And I was thinking, oh, it'd be cool to go to a Savannah Bananas game. A couple things wrong with that. Number one, the day that we're there, they don't play, so that automatically kicks it out. But if they were playing on the day that we were there, those tickets have been sold out forever. And to get a ticket to the Savannah Bananas is pretty much impossible, so we won't get to see them. Jared loves baseball, so that would be a fun experience. But next time we're in Savannah, maybe. From Savannah, we are going to hit 2 states after that. We're gonna go to Charleston, South Carolina. There's a fellow YouTuber in the Medicare space, which is where my main channel is, and he is from and lives in Charleston, South Carolina. So we're gonna try and coordinate, try and meet him in person. We've met over Zoom once, but this time maybe we'll be able to meet in person and exchange some ideas. Really looking forward to that. From Charleston, we're gonna head to Charlotte, North Carolina. This is going to be an opportunity for Jared to check off another NBA team, the Charlotte Hornets, off of his list of stadiums to see. And we're gonna stay in Charlotte there for a night and see what that experience brings us. That is a total driving time of about 7 hours from Savannah to Charleston to Charlotte. So another long day in the car. Again, we're gonna break that up with a bunch of stops. So hopefully it's pretty okay, but yeah, it's still a lot of time in the car. I did wanna point out here at my park, we have 4 of these pavilions scattered in this loop around the park. And at each pavilion, I stop and do some exercises. Now I'm done with my exercise routine. I'm not a fitness guy. It's just something that I'm doing to be a little bit more functionally able to exist in this world. So I'll stop and do some push-ups in different variations. I'll do sit-ups. I'll do some hill running, maybe some lunges. Anyway, so we'll be passing those pavilions, and now the sun is directly behind me. Let's see if I can get this to where I look like an angel. Now you have to deal with the sun. From Charlotte, we're going to go to Princeton, West Virginia. We don't get to spend really any time in West Virginia other than Princeton. We're gonna kind of tap into it. Hello. See what West Virginia holds for us, and then we're gonna continue on to Roanoke, Virginia. Spend the night in Roanoke. So that drive shouldn't be too terrible. It's like 4.5 hours. Now from Roanoke, Virginia, we've got quite the couple of days ahead of us with a lot of states. So we're gonna go through Washington, D.C. We're really not spending a lot of time in Washington, D.C., which is unfortunate. You could spend, I don't know, days to a week in Washington, D.C. And then we're gonna go to Baltimore, Maryland, see what that all holds, and then end up in Wilmington, Delaware. So we're knocking off, what is that, 2-3 states plus Washington, D.C. in that one day. But the next day gets even crazier. We're gonna go from Wilmington, Delaware. We are going to pass through Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a city that I really wish I was making an entire trip around, but we're only going to stay there passing through the day. We'll see some sights, but we don't get to spend very much time in Philadelphia. We're going to pass through Trenton, New Jersey. We're going to pass by New York City. Now, our New York experience is mostly going to be spent in upstate New York, not in the city itself, but we will drive by it and wave to everybody in the Big Apple. Then we're going to go through Hartford, Connecticut, Providence, Rhode Island, and then end up in Boston, Massachusetts. Boston, you're one of my top picks on the list of places to see on this trip. Never been to Boston, and I've never had clam chowder, so I'm going to try clam chowder in Boston. Now, as far as I'm aware, I'm not allergic to shellfish, as we're thinking through the seafood diet that we will be on along the East Coast. I've skipped over them, but to keep the theme, we do have several NBA teams on these last few days that we will be covering, ending here in Boston with the Celtics, who just won the NBA championship. Jared loves Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, so it'll be fun to see the TD Garden. I think that's what it is right now. From Boston, we have a decision to make. We do need to tap into Maine. I'd like to go to Portland, Maine. We'll see how everybody is feeling though, because we might just tap into the very southern tip of Maine, check that off our list, and head over to Concord, New Hampshire. From New Hampshire, we're going to go to Brattleboro, Vermont. I don't know anything about Brattleboro other than the name sounds pretty interesting. So we'll see what that holds for us there in Vermont. I did a state report on Vermont when I was in the, is that 5th grade? 5th grade, I think, was state reports. Might have been a different grade. My report was on Vermont, and not a very populated state, but a lot of beautiful scenery and a lot of covered bridges. From Vermont, we go to Albany, New York. So now we're in upstate New York, and this is a lot more of our New York experience. We'll spend the night in Albany before heading over to Niagara Falls. And this is kind of a fun story, one that I really, really enjoy. So last year, many of you know that my mom passed away from cancer. And when she was diagnosed with cancer early in the year, she put together a bucket list of things that she wanted to do And one of those items was to see New York City and Staten Island and the Statue of Liberty. And the other was to see Niagara Falls. And just because of the timing, my brother and sister threw this trip together, and it was super last minute. Getting work off was going to be really, really difficult for me. Finances at the time, all of this stuff was happening to where I wasn't going to be able to go. That sun's back. I was really bummed. I've never been to Niagara, and so it would have been fun to experience that. Well, with a lot of fortunate things and circumstances that happened, my sister was able to get me plane tickets, and I was able to get work off, and it was all able to work out, but we didn't tell my mom that I was coming. So she and my brother and my sister-in-law traveled separately. They all got to Niagara and were staying in a hotel. Me and my sister and my two nieces came in a different way, ended up driving from New York up to Niagara Falls, New York City up to Niagara Falls, and we met in the parking lot. They had me wait in the van, and I actually have video of it, so I'm going to put that video on over here so you can see.
No way! We were talking about this, and Ryan said, do you miss not having all your kids?
Yay!
Yeah, I wish I could have come with you.
He did.
Correct. What a surprise!
It's all thanks to Amber. So Niagara was a very special experience for me, and I'm excited to experience that with Caitlin and the kids now, to see that amazing part of the country. After Niagara, we are going to head over to Cleveland, Ohio, where we will stay, and that wraps up step 3 of this itinerary for this 48-state crazy road trip. A lot of exciting things happening on this one. Food is going to be a big part of this experience, and I mentioned in the last one, but the Deep South, experiencing the Deep South food is going to be fantastic. I'm super, super excited for that. But I am not a big seafood guy. I've committed that I'm going to be trying a lot of different seafood things. So we mentioned the clam chowder in Boston, a lot of opportunities to try some good seafood along the East Coast. I am a pretty picky eater. I like to experience new foods, but I'm still pretty picky. So are the kids and Caitlin. I've committed to try some new foods, see what the world has to offer, even if I don't have that acquired taste at the moment. Please don't hate me for that if you absolutely love seafood. Talking to you has been a great break from the exercise routine. I probably got to get back to that. So I hope you enjoyed this walkabout, and I will see you in the last video of the itinerary series, number 4, where we go from Cleveland, Ohio, and try to figure out our way back home.